What's up, everybody? How are you? Nice to see you. Haven't been here in a while. Nice to hang out with you for a little bit. If you have any questions, throw them in because we answer them every 2 p.m. every Wednesday. We come here and we answer your questions. So throw them in. We'll be happy to answer some of them. Hope you all are having a good week. Let's see, podcast today. Which podcast are we at today?
William Rory.
Oh, this is a good one. This is the one where we talk about CAN bus.
EV tuning.
All right. So William Rory, he's a racer just like all of us, and in addition to that, we linked up with him through Nick from Tuning by Nick in Canada. William Rory is what do we call him? What engineer is he? I always lose this.
Electromechanical.
He's an electromechanical engineer,
Yep.
And part of his job is to work with these different OEs and different companies, and basically they reverse engineer a lot of stuff. And they're the ones that try to kind of squeeze all the mileage or range out of some of these batteries and the battery management systems. But we kind of get into what it would be like to tune an EV car, what kind of options will be available, kind of where everything's going. And the interesting part will actually be a little bit of spoiler alert for those that are anti-EV or saying, hey, the EV thing doesn't make sense. You'll be surprised to hear what his comments are when you start hearing him talk about where the future of EV is going. You will be super surprised, or maybe not surprised, to understand where the OEs really have pivoted to years before they've actually made the jump. So
We got some people in here. Pretty excited to see you, Scott.
Hey, nice to see you.
Vivid Car Meets Detroit says, yo,
What
yo,
up?
yo. Blue Breeze says, Papa Scott. Yo, Papa Scott.
wow, I like that. It's not bad.
Pretty Ricky Z4M says, what's up, fellas?
What's happening?
CLT Brian's up in here.
What's up, Brian?
This person says, excited for my wheels to come. Hexiform
Yep.
matte bronze, 18 by 10.5 plus 18.
Very nice. Very baller. I hope you got something that you know you could
Oh,
be
it's
able
Hans
to put it
Orbital.
on.
What's up? Yo,
Oh.
Hans, what's up, man? How are you? I didn't even realize.
Cool. Cool.
I'm so torn on wheel color. Winning blue NC Miata, I guess, with the black removable hardtop. I think black wheels are too plain.
Yeah, I agree with you. Now, I will say that there's a gentleman out there that randomly puts some stuff up. His name is Ryan Sawyer. I don't know if I should have said that, but anyhow, bottom line is he has a blue NC Miata, and it's running hypergrams with a machine lip in the dark graphite center to throw that same kind of thing off. I think that you can do almost anything with your color combination, and that's the truth. So we have a lot of gray wheels. I think matte gray would work super well on that car. And if you decided you want to go with something really bright and off the wall, I think you can go with like a hyperchrome countergram. I think that would work really well. And I even think you can get away with bronze. Now, I don't know. That's a very personal look. So what I would say to you is you have so many different options, but you're right. I agree with you 100%. I would not go black. I think it's just a way of making the wheel would just look like another black wheel. It'd be very muted, you know? Like tough but muted.
This person says, what is the wheel right behind you above the tag plate, meaning the license plate right there?
This wheel.
Yep.
That is a Koenig hypergram, obviously with a machine lip and the dark graphite center. So the interesting part about that is it's exactly what I just said about what wheel I would kind of recommend, I guess.
I just want to reiterate for the people on YouTube, we are here answering live questions. If you guys have
we
any
do.
questions, please.
Yeah, for the YouTube people, this is YouTube. This is Instagram.
YouTube's here.
YouTube.
Yep.
We do Q&A, and we do this every Wednesday at 2 p.m. Eastern. We come live. We answer your questions. We've been doing it now for like 3+ years. This way, you always know where you find us, and you can ask us or mention anything you want to do. Keep it nice.
This Hans Orbital says, "Go bronze. It's a new rage. It's the new rage."
It's been the rage for a few years, and
He said blue/bronze equals
blue
amazing.
slash bonds, right?
Equals amazing.
The question is, like, since things are cyclical, right, and we've seen the white thing come around and kind of taper back off, is gold coming back? Are we going to see gold make the circle? I don't know. I feel like it's just on that cusp of that 7 to 10 year mark. It might be there. We'll see.
The person with the Miata says, thank you. This guy says, I want to see black/machine lip, but I can't find any pictures of it. I'm leaning towards the gray hypergrams or the Mark 1s.
Yeah, that makes sense. Mark 1 is not at all with a machine lip type thing. Mark 1 is a like a very dark hyper finish, and it's really deep and it's really cool. It's that finish it's like a smoky, reflective, chromy type finish. I don't know how to do it. Why was I doing something weird with my
No,
hands?
no, not at all. It wasn't you.
Okay.
Blueberry says, I've been into white for a while. Anything that's not black wheels get me.
I know.
So,
I've run through the black stage.
CLT Brian says, gold wheels need to stay dead.
Listen, I don't know that I disagree with you, but I feel like those cyclical nature, man, they come back around. I'm telling you, we're right on that 7 to 10 year cusp.
Yeah.
You may start to see gold pop around. Just say, remember, if you saw it, make sure you tell everybody I said it.
This guy says, will you ever make ultragrams in 19s? People can't run 18s because it's too small for our cars. I don't know what car he has.
Yeah, I agree. So let's talk about the 18 versus 19-inch thing, especially with the ultragram. When it comes down to a wheel, we have to think long and hard about what the intended fitments of that wheel are going to be. And sometimes we get it right, and sometimes we don't. Now, I personally, for the amount of feedback we've had about the ultragram being offered in 19-inch, I'm going to say I think we got it right. Now, what I mean by that is I don't really get a ton of requests or feedback that says, hey, I wish you offered this ultragram in 19. Now, I think a lot of our base is very motorsport race oriented, and I think that really skews the base, and 18 inches is about as big as you would ever go on track for a lot of cars. But I do acknowledge that I think that there would have been something with 19-inch. Let us know what kind of car you have and kind of what sizes you were thinking about. You never know. It could happen.
P3 Gauge is up in here saying 18 inches for the win.
Sweet.
Discount Tires up in here.
Yeah, all right.
And,
Discount Tire.
And Brian says matte black over gloss black.
Matte black, 100%.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, like, the problem with gloss black to me is that you run into that weird area. We have some construction going on. I don't know if you hear that.
The microphones will be fine.
All right,
We'll
cool.
be good. Yeah.
This is wild. These people out here with grinders against the wall. I don't know what they're doing. So basically, like, gloss black to me is a really, really delicate color to pull off, right? Because everybody will deal with a black. Black's not the problem. When you paint something that gloss black, you borderline on the look between a commodity wheel that you would see everywhere with a machine lip, and some of the other stuff that just doesn't always look really expensive. So I think the matte coating obviously kicks that over a little bit, but you can make the argument either way, I suppose.
Mr. Physical on YouTube. So I heard more 5x100 17 fit. That's all he said. And then he said, will you guys be at the New York Auto Show?
I was debating on going personally, but we won't be displaying at the New York Auto Show. It really doesn't pay to do the New York Auto Show because it's just such an OE feel. Yeah. There are some vendors that we know from the local New York tri-state area that do end up going there, and they do display, and I think arguably you could say they have some attendance and traction, but I think it's really more for the cars that they do, not really for a display purposes in that respect. What was the other question he asked me about?
He said, quote, so I heard more 5x100 17 fit. That's all he said. It's not a...
Yeah, look, I mean, I think 5x100 is a tough pattern right now, right? It's getting a bad rap a little bit only because all the cars that were really popular at 5x100 left 5x100. All the other cars are getting old. You get left with like GR86 and some of the
Toyota hatches and stuff.
Yeah, you got Corollas, you got some stuff like that, and so it's hard because the one thing that I've said before on other live streams or different things is when we do wheel development, the PCD range. So whatever, if we're going to offer it in 5x100 to 5x120, basically what happens is the pad ends up having to be shorter and taller. In other words, 5x100 is a small pattern, 5x120 is a big pattern. So if you plan to go 5x120 and you start at 5x100, essentially what happens is every other wheel in the PCD range above 5x100 ends up having a much taller pad than maybe it needs to be because it carries that pad up from the 5x100. So the wheel ends up weighing more. So we try to be very selective about the PCD range that we're building in. And if 5x100 is not going to necessarily yield out a lot of like a decent amount of volume, sometimes we'll omit it because it brings us all the way back up to basically 5108, and then we get to reduce that pad by definitely 8 millimeters or so, and that 8 millimeters when it's on the back of a wheel can really represent a fair amount of weight. So that's why we do it.
This person, he says thank you for the reply.
Oh, no problem.
Can't find Koenig dial-ins in white finish anywhere in my Miata spec 15 by 825. Did you stop producing them?
I know some of the white part numbers have taken a little bit of a back seat. What I would say is this: if you're looking for wheels for your Miata, head over to Goodwin Racing, or give them a call and see what they have to say. One, they may have inventory on it. I don't know if you've already checked Goodwin Racing. If you haven't checked Goodwin Racing, I would strongly recommend calling them because they would even be in the know on when the next stuff was coming in. But as far as discontinued, I think that should be on our website unless we haven't updated it because we didn't do our job right. It happens. Sometimes we just we move things around. Sorry if it's us. Sorry.
Brian gets it. He says gloss black loses a lot of details in photos. However, matte black faces with gloss black lip/barrels on multi-piece wheels look great.
And the thing is, there's a lot of different ways to get there, even with stuff that's not multi-piece. It just doesn't look nearly as good.
This guy says, I didn't see my car in your YouTube video. You guys reached out to see if you could use my car for the video, which was in regards to the 11th Gen Fit Check video.
So, first off, if that happened, I apologize. Max does all the editing. It could have been something that he put B-roll over, that he overlaid, and maybe it was something we said that we ended up cutting, but I apologize for that, and I also thank you for hanging out with us and potentially offering us the use of your vehicle. But you reach out to us. Never know. Maybe we got something else in store for it.
Omar says, sup from Dominican Republic.
Man, Omar, how are you, my man?
Yeah, and then Discount Tire gave you a nice wave.
Love Discount Tire.
There you go. Hot Wheel Boy 818 says, what's the oldest set of wheels you guys still make?
Hold on a second. I'm going to stop. I'm going to pause for a second. Discount Tire. We've had a relationship with Discount Tire for over 35 years. I mean, it's unbelievable. They are just some of the most knowledgeable wheel people at the retail level that you could come across. So, shout out to Discount Tire. All the good people over there.
Shout out.
I'm ready.
Hot Wheel Boy 818 says, what's the oldest set of wheels you guys still make?
The oldest set of wheels that we still make. I'm gonna say Rewind.
Mm-hmm.
I think at this stage the Koenig Rewind. Incident's probably right up there, but probably Rewind.
Pretty Ricky says, watched all your videos. Love the Fit Check 11th Gen Civic.
Yeah.
Do you find it frustrating that all these different bolt patterns from manufacturers, except 11th Gen Civic / Type R, BMW is now 51112?
Well, you got to read that to me again because I might have misinterpreted. Is he saying everything is 51112?
I think he is.
No, that's not true. That's not true. There's still a tremendous amount of cars that are 5.4.5 or 51114.3.
He's saying, do you find it frustrating that all these manufacturers have such a wide range of bolt patterns? Example, 11th Gen Civic and Type R, 2 different bolt patterns, and then BMW is now 51112. That's what he's saying.
I don't think it's frustrating. I think the hard part is, I don't think it's frustrating. It's always been that way, right? I don't know if it's something like that. I think the hard part when you start to look at some of these wheels is, you have to start to make a decision on what the fit is. I mean, look, the Civic Type R and the 11th Gen Civic, just to take a good point at it, they're not the same car. They can take similar fits, but when with the 11th Gen Civic base and kind of up to the SI model, you're talking about a wheel fitment that what the Type R would fit without issue, the 11th Gen fits at an aggressive stage. And then the Type R obviously has some more room in there. As far as the 5120 to 5.4.5, there's plenty of cars. You have to pick and choose what you want to fit. I think the hard part is that there's a lot of people out there that may want us to fit their car, and we may not because it's not really a widely made vehicle, and we have to really decide if it makes sense for us to be there.
This guy says, on YouTube, tell me about your new truck line. Did you guys discontinue the Mamba? wheel line?
That's a great question. The answer to that is no. So here's the lowdown and skinny on it, because you guys are kind of behind the scenes with us, hanging out. So Mamba was a brand that we originally had licensed back in 2012. Now we purchased that brand outright, some years ago. And again, we've been making the wheels ever since for it. That hasn't changed. But look, there were some things about the Mamba line that I didn't love, and we've decided to strip some of those things away. And we have like 3 or 4 new designs for Mamba that we really are excited to release, especially around SEMA time. So stay tuned for that if you're into, that kind of off-roady type of look. As far as the Koenig truck wheels, listen, there's a whole video about it on our YouTube channel. I recommend you go over there and check it out. This stuff is exciting. And I'm not a super truck overlanding guy. When I tell you that this was exciting for us to bring, it's new product. We worked in a bunch of tech into it. We brought along everything that you can think of that you've come to know about Koenig, right? Neural bead seats, flow formed, 2,500 pounds load rated, easy to clean windows, extra extended, extra hardened and thickened rear flanges to really give a lot more structural stability to the wheel. A lot of good stuff there. Plus the integrated cap perch is super cool. If you don't want to run a center cap, take it out. It doesn't look like it's incomplete. So check that stuff out if you want. It's on our website right now, KoenigWheels.com. Click on the Hypertrail series. You should be able to check it out.
I'm going to roll through some questions.
Yep.
Here. Hot Wheel Boy, who was asking about the oldest wheel that we make, he said, although they're extremely rare, I'm looking for a set of afterburner wheels for my Evo. Any advice on where I can find them?
No. I mean, you're down to eBay or Craigslist. I mean, I hear what you're saying, but super old now.
Gavin says, thankful for my Koenigs, I suffered a blowout on my decograms and made it another 2 miles, and the rim was not cracked or had any bends.
Well, that's great. Make sure you inspect the wheel. Anytime you have every time you suffer a catastrophic blowout or something like that, you can always have damage to a wheel. It doesn't matter what kind of construction or what kind of wheel it is. Make sure you really clean the thing off and do some inspection. We wouldn't want you out there on anything that potentially could be compromised. Remember that damage doesn't always translate to where you actually impacted the wheel. Sometimes it goes to kind of the path of least resistance. It could be damaged somewhere else. So really just eyeball the whole damn thing.
Tony says, hey, can I get sponsored by you guys? Brian responds to Tony and says, you have to mow their lawn first.
Sick.
But Tony asks, can I get sponsored by you guys?
I mean, if you think that's all it takes is just send in a comment, then maybe.
This guy says, need some Koenigs for the STI.
Listen, don't tempt us with a good time. Yeah. We're down. Let's do it.
Peter Gage says, my heliograms are tough. Got me home from Wookiees after dipping off a road shoulder.
I heard about that. Dow told us about that. I think that's what, right? If I remember correctly, that was. I think Dow told us that story. Yeah, that's crazy. Well, awesome. And sorry, you kind of had a dip.
The person with the SCI says, I dare you guys to sponsor me.
I double dog dare you for us to not sponsor you.
The dare didn't take. Oh, he's the one who DM'd us. I think he DM'd us that.
Okay.
That's funny. Josh Dad up in here saying, what's up?
What's up, man? What's up?
Good day, gentlemen, it says this one person. And yeah.
Top of the morning to you.
He said, good day, gentlemen. What a salute.
Yeah, damn right.
All right, cool. So we are pretty much caught up. I think that's about it.
If you have any other last questions that you would like to ask, throw them in now. We'll be happy to get to them. Don't forget, we have a podcast coming up with William Rory. This is a good one, because I think if you're into the technical part, or if you're interested in kind of how EVs get some extra range, if you're interested into what a guy that's really into internal engine combustion cars would do with a day job that requires him to really reverse engineer some of this better battery management stuff and EVs. If you're into the fact that EV is potentially a fad or a supplemental piece of the type of platforms that are out there, and even though people are pushing you to EVs, it may not be the actual reality of where we're going. Check out this podcast. This guy really has the knowledge about what OEs are doing, because he works with them, and this is some interesting stuff. That's coming up just on our YouTube channel in just about 30 minutes, 35 minutes time.
Final questions here.
Yeah.
Fast Rabbit joined. That's the guy with the Mark 1 caddy with the Ultragram.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. So he's joined in here. Germ V.
Yep.
He said, "What's your favorite wheel for an NC Miata?" I'm thinking Mark 1.
So here's what I would say about the Mark 1, and just in full disclosure, and we've said this before, the Mark 1 is not developed to be a lightweight wheel, right? So I think you have to consider that, especially when going to a car like an NC Miata, right? It's a cool wheel, it's stylish, it's gonna have some extra optional accessories that I think are super cool. Look-wise, I think you're on par. Performance-wise, I think, it's not like crazy heavy, but like if you're looking to lose some weight for the rotational mass and feel a little bit more acceleration, then you may want to go to something that's more in our flow form line that's like really focused on the weight savings. So that's my take on it. I think there's so many options. Go to Goodwin Racing. They have so many different wheels for those cars, not only in stock, but also the photos of them and stuff like that.
CLT Brian says, sponsor him, no balls for the guy with the STI. He's asking for sponsorship.
I appreciate it.
P3 Gauges says, hey, when can we expect Mark 1 and more importantly, the fans?
Yeah. So Mark 1, it looks like we are at a stage. Launch years are always tough. We want to make sure everything is perfect when it comes out. And so launch years, we're just finishing up some stuff that has to do with caps. I know it sounds crazy, but these caps are super expensive. They're also like super legit. So I think you're going to see we've done a lot of 18-inch production. I think 18-inch stuff you'll start to see arrive at the end of April. As far as the those aero covers that we've been working on, I think you're going to see them probably right around mid to end of May. That's the real update as I have it right now.
Last 3 questions here.
Sure.
Mr. Physical on YouTube asked, are spinners coming back? I think in relation to P3's question about fans.
No, I don't think spinners are coming back. In fact, I would argue that I don't think spinners will ever make it back.
Yeah. All right, SW20 MR2 wheel recommendation.
First off, if you want to sell me your car, this is a great time to do so.
There was a guy, Dane Motorsport, who was in here earlier. If he's still in here, he's rocking Ultragrams on his SW20.
Sick. Anybody want to sell it to me, or I don't know?
There's a different guy, and he's asking for SW20 wheel recommendations.
It depends on your size. That's the truth, I mean, whether you want to go smaller or bigger, if you're going to be into something in the 17-inch size, I think you can, do something maybe like a hexaform. I think it's got a clean style that kind of flows with that car. But really, a lot of our wheels will fit, so it's really up to you.
All right, last couple.
Yep.
I have a few more here, Scott. What's the biggest wheel and tire I could put on a C5 Corvette, and what rim looks good on it?
As far as the C5 goes,
love the C5.
We don't have a ton for you yet, but the Forge stuff that we have coming out is on par. As far as the biggest wheel you can get on a Corvette, you could get away with doing like a 10.5 in the rear on a C5. It's got to be, I want to say it's got to be in the 52-ish offset, something like that, 50 offset. I could probably give this to you better, but my head's not working super clear. On the front, you definitely got to go down inside, maybe like, something in the 9.5 or something to that effect. C5s didn't have a wide body option, so, you kind of got to roll with what you have. But if you want to DM us, I can get you some more information on it.
I'm more excited to see the Mark 1 cover designs.
So, yeah, if you look at the one that we did for SEMA, that's basically what we did. That's real. And that's the artwork essentially that will be on it. Now, because it's essentially a plastic cover, you could do really whatever you want with it. We've talked about doing the whole thing of download this or download that or printed vinyl things. These will be screen printed, or these are done where they're painted on. So what we have there is painted on, but you could do so much with vinyl. That's kind of how we felt. We weren't looking to get into the whole sticker game. We know that some other people do that with some of the similar types of things that are out there, even though ours is going to be different. So that's kind of my answer.
The guy with the SCI said, I'm just playing with sponsorship because I love you guys' stuff. I'll be ordering at some point.
Man, I appreciate that. I really do. I appreciate that very much. You know, it's hard. It's like we work really hard on this stuff, and so it means a lot when we hear stuff like that. So thank you.
P3 Gage says, thanks for the answer. Small business for the win. Looking forward to it. Thanks for all the love.
Dude, we appreciate you guys, and it's nice to kind of know that you guys are right there with us in the trenches, kind of, you know, in that whole community aspect. It means a lot to us.
This guy who looks like he has a Lexus IS on some freeforms.
Okay.
That's what he looks like. He said, are you guys still offering some, considering sponsorships?
I think we always consider sponsorships. I mean, it's got to be the right package. Sponsorship is a value proposition like anything else. Make sure you head over to our YouTube channel, Koenig Wheels USA. Search the channel for sponsorship stuff, because we have done not only pieces of content on sponsorship, we've also kind of done a 5-part series where we tell you exactly how you should put in a sponsorship proposal, not just for us, for any company that you be looking for sponsorship from.
Scott, you might be in business here. This guy says, I'm doing a full restoration on the MR2. Will be for sale.
Holy cow!
And then this guy,
but you're gonna give it to me after restored.
And this guy Tony says, bro, look at my SW20. So I don't know. Maybe people want to sell you their car, Scott.
Bring them.
Any recommendations for an STI? Want some fat fitment?
What's up? What year STI?
It looks like the latest generation, the most recent one.
Okay, so if it's the most recent one, you could probably get up to about an 18.5 ET35. That's kind of all the wheels, so just be careful and don't over tire it. But that's kind of where you're at if you want to do that. As far as wheel recommendation goes, you got most of your pick. A lot of our stuff fits, so. DM us if you have any further questions.
The guy with the Resto SW20 says stock crimson red, Greddy body kit, 4th Gen 3S GTE swap.
That's sick. You're gonna put the LSD, the E153 LSD, or are you doing something different?
Bermuda, Mr. Max. In your opinion, what is the absolute worst car of all time?
I don't know, probably something like a Pinto or something.
No, Brian said the answer to Max exactly what I was thinking, which is Pontiac Aztek.
You know what's crazy about the Aztec? No, listen, I'm gonna tell you right now. I don't know if I know Paco Ibarra or whatever, but like, the Aztec, as awful as that thing was, they have a crazy cult following. I don't think it's big, but they got this cult following where people are like, you know, whatever. But it's pretty wild. I don't know. That was the design before its time.
Oh, Alberto Big Boost up in here.
What's up, Alberto? He says, just had a birthday. Everybody wish Alberto a happy birthday.
He says 300ZX twin turbo.
Sick. You think that's the worst car, Alberto? Is that what he's saying?
I don't know. Maybe
is that what he's saying? Now, I will say that was 10 pounds of crap in a 5-pound bag.
He said it with no context, at least I think. So maybe it wasn't the answer.
I have a feeling he was saying it because if you've ever worked on one, you will say that same answer.
Man. Brian asked a hard-hitting question. This is a good one.
Hard-hitting?
No, that's not hard-hitting. Okay. He said, do you guys prefer sponsorships or partnerships? Are they the same thing or different?
That's a good question.
It is a good question.
Well, obviously, I think every sponsorship should be a partnership. I think the problem with people applying for sponsorship, and I'm not saying this for everybody, but the problem usually is the fact that they look at sponsorship as, we're going to give you free things, and I'm going to put a decal on my car. Right? And I think that that's not a partnership, right? A partnership is a true two-way street where you're delivering more value than maybe the company's giving you. And in addition to that, you're also trying to foster a long-term relationship, and you're willing to do things to be able to kind of nurture that relationship. And on both sides, right? The difference is when a company is kind of hit up all day long with people that are looking for sponsorship, they become a little bit jaded and it's tougher. And they don't have the time, obviously, to always reciprocate. But when we get down to sponsorships, and I'll say this to Rich because he knows, at some point we do reciprocate quite a bit, whether it's using photos or helping out with different company relationships or stuff like that. So a lot of our sponsors, drivers, when we get to a certain point, drivers or people or rides, we end up kind of developing a pretty good long-term tight relationship with them.
Mm-hmm. Alberto clarified and said, worst car ever to work on.
See, I told you. That's how I knew it, because I've worked on 300Zs, the twin turbos, and they're it's the tightest stuff. Not to mention their cranks crack in half. That's a whole other story.
The guy with the IS on Freeforms, he said, yes, I'm on some Freeforms. Got them last Black Friday sale. As if prices weren't good enough already, got these for less than $500. Got me hooked on Koenig.
Oh, he's talking about from the closeout section on our website. Yeah, so we randomly throw out close-up sets up on our website, store.koenigwheels.com. Really, once we got to a point where we're like, all right, we're done with this stuff, we'll throw it on there and we'll blast out sets for almost, I mean, just to get rid of them kind of thing.
Yeah. Last couple things. Would have loved, this is the guy with the Resto SW20.
Yep.
Would have loved to install an E153, but the 4K trans wouldn't fit in the budget. Not big power builds, simple swap, just a little extra pew pew.
Yeah, I get it. It's hard. Those cars, they deserve an LSD.
And Alberto says a 300ZX with an RB or an SR would solve all the issues. Yeah,
yeah, it's true. That's very true.
I think that's it. We're good to go.
All right, cool. It's been a pleasure hanging out with you guys. It's always nice to come visit. Thanks for allowing me to grace you with my presence. With that said, don't forget podcast coming on just about a half an hour's time on our YouTube channel, Koenig Wheels USA. It's a good one. And then on this Friday, we have a piece of content that always drops. It's a Hype is Right. If you've never seen Hype is Right, it's kind of cool. We basically go to people in the industry. We give them 4 cars. We say, hey, tell us all about what you think these cars are about, right? So we want you to give us a hype, an overhype, or just right. We want you to tell us, like, what's the deal here, and give an explanation. So that's always a fun thing, cool piece of content. Make sure to check that out Friday on our YouTube channel. Thanks for hanging out with us, and we'll catch you back here next Wednesday, 2 p.m. Eastern.